Marhaba, and hello once again to our brothers and sisters around the world, friends of the cause of justice for the Palestinian people who are suffering so intensely in Palestine these days under the apartheid regime. Gaza, where my friend Muhammad Jihad Ismael lives with his beautiful young family, has been under containment and imprisonment for 15 years and more. His family, his father was born on the roadside in 1948's expulsions from the traditional villages, and he is now age 75. We were just talking about that. And so this is a family that had their freedom taken away from them, and still they are happy and strong and struggling for justice. This in the middle of the usual critical situation concerning, well, electricity. Imagine if you only had 8 hours or less per day in a highly uncertain delivery system, no clean water. 12,000 odd people have to feed off of one delivery truck per day that's allowed into Gaza. Hamas, the Palestinian Authority, and the Israelis themselves, as well as the oligarchs there, increase the prices, control the import of everything, and they're doing a horrible job. Their leadership has led the Palestinian people nowhere and only into deeper ruin every time they go through a round of conflict with Israel. So they have no ideas and they do nothing for the average people. Hospitals, medicine, it goes on and on. So we think that a normal, civilized, compassionate human being would say, well, what can I do? What can I do? We always say in our introduction, there are three things. Write to your own government and demand the policy changes that are either indifferent to or supportive of Israeli apartheid, because once outside funding and support stops, they will have to come around. Second, BDS, boycott, divestment, and sanctions. We both have discussed, thought about, and discussed again about this issue. The Palestinians, average people, have nothing to begin with. So you're not going to hurt their employment, their income, or anything else by practicing boycotts of products that are produced in Israelis' occupied territories, Palestinian land. The third thing, quickly, we call family to family. Muhammad and I got to know each other through a book that I published a couple of years ago. We've been close friends ever since, and it's been a wonderful relationship. My wife and I have been able to send some support for just buying canned milk for their big, beautiful, now big and beautiful young twin daughters who were born about a year ago. We send all the support that we can. We use Western Union, so there's no NGOs, no banks involved. The money goes directly to Muhammad's family. And week by week, as you can see at my blog, Jack Dempsey Writer at WordPress.com, Jack Dempsey Writer at WordPress.com. There are photo pages there showing improvements that we together have been able to make for Muhammad and his family's living conditions. And with that, I will hand it over to Muhammad. You can tell us how the progress is going and the improvements you're making on your home, Muhammad, and anything else that you'd like to share right up front. But don't forget that you too can develop a direct friendship with Palestinian people, reach right over the walls that are confining them in Gaza, and see the direct impact of whatever help you care to arrange to send them. Okay. Muhammad, how's it going? And how's the quote new house coming along?
Hello, brother. Thank you for this new opportunity. I am happy to be with you today and with our friends and viewers. In fact, I am talking now to you and to our viewers from our new house. As you see in my background, we have very clean, very fresh walls painted in a well and very nice paints. The house is fresh and new. It's a beautiful house. It's a wide house, consists of three rooms and a kitchen and a bathroom. I want to tell the followers and the viewers that before this house, I was living in only one room, all together with my family, my wife, and my three children. So five person were living inside the one room. It's about 15 square meters. But now, with the assistance of my brother Jack and my sister Angela, now with their assistance and with their favor, now we have big house consists of 3 rooms, one large kitchen, and one large bathroom. So I cannot describe how our situation became. It's a very, very beautiful
It is.
turning point. It's very beautiful and very great turning point in my life and in my family's life. We finished building the house and we started 2 weeks ago making the finishing, buying some furniture. Uh, of course, now all the goods cannot be available in the market of Gaza because we have siege. Gaza is siege, and if I
Constant.
supposed to buy any good, I have to make booking for this good, and I
Yes.
have to wait the delivery of this good. And of course, Gaza each day has only a very limited amount of trucks, about 200 trucks. So I cannot have all my needs directly in one time, but I have to wait. Maybe I booked a washing machine. I used a washing machine
Mhm.
like 3 weeks ago. Right now, I am waiting. I paid the cost of this washing machine, but right now I am waiting the arrival of washing machine. The same thing is with my batteries. I am waiting some good batteries to arrive our local market. So our life with this siege is something unbelievable.
Yes, the batteries you use look like car batteries that are in the front of almost every automobile. And this they use to fill in through the hours when they have no electricity. So imagine one day in the normal average person of the world's life, what a disruption that is. And they've been living under these conditions for years and years. Mohammed, your family just finished celebrating Ramadan. Also, the Eid festival closed it all. And I saw that at mondoweiss.com, there's a pretty wonderful article about how people in Gaza try to celebrate Ramadan and Eid and the treatment of their children, how wonderfully warm they are to take them out to try to buy them some new clothes, a little bit of candy, some amusements to keep their spirits up. These are like Muhammad's own children, people who have been shaken in their houses, in their beds by bombs, missiles, artillery, tank rounds. They are an almost constantly terrorized population. In our last episode, we were talking a little about the psychological effects on the Gaza's confined population of such a prolonged siege. And we can almost imagine, not quite, but we can almost imagine the consequences down the road when these psychological problems, if they continue, reach maturity. And who knows what can happen at that point, because things are such a flashpoint right now. As it is, there have been a number more clashes, arrests, killings, beatings since the raid on Al-Aqsa Mosque. But I have one article of hope that I'd like to mention and ask you about, Muhammad. This week, the great international journal called Foreign Affairs published an article that has acknowledged that no, there is not going to be a two-state solution. Israel has destroyed the two-state solution by taking and taking and taking more land. The only way to look at the future of this conflict, this relationship between the two peoples, is in one state without the apartheid system. These are the words of Foreign Affairs International Journal of Politics. So this is such a mainstream and authoritative source to come out with an admission like that, a declaration like that, that yes, Israel, Palestine needs to be one state without the apartheid system, which therein they officially recognize one sovereign system. Now, some people think the end of the Jewish state, that is because it would be voted as a democracy by people of all religious backgrounds, would be an anti Semitic one. But that is completely untrue because for generations before 1948's mass expulsion of Palestinian people, almost every village had a mosque, a temple, and a church. People of all the different faith persuasions were getting along as well as human beings anywhere ever do. They have lived together before, so that we know this can be done again. One other important point that Foreign Affairs raised, Mohammed, was that, well, why is this happening? Why are things changing on the ground with a bit of hope in the air? Well, one is that the solidarity movement with Palestinians by people around the world, yeah, like you, if you'd like to come and be involved, is the solidarity movement is catching on. The world is growing up out of the colonial mentality, and they recognize that these things are implicit crimes: stealing of land, murdering of inhabitants, displacement, refusing them the right to return to the homes from which they were only violently banished in 1948. The second reason is Israel's own behavior. As the world leaves the colonial mentality, Israel seems unable to stop stepping in it, as we say in English, stepping right into more trouble, more brutality, more repression. And the world opinion is changing against that. And I thought, Mohammed, before I turn this over to you, that I'm smiling about this a little bit because they're what we call in English a tin ear just goes on tripping them up. In other words, they don't know themselves how they sound to the rest of the world. They live in a bubble of their own chosen separationhood, I guess you'd say, and they have no idea how this stuff sounds. Netanyahu, the prime minister, just appointed a quote, proud racist. Her name is May Golan as consul general of New York. Now, that is one of the biggest Jewish populations in the United States. And this woman walks around saying, yeah, I'm a proud racist. And the funny part to me is how stupid that is. Not only stupid politically, but I have news for you. There's only one race. It's the human race. There is no Jewish race or black race, or these things are not genetically passed on. There's only one human race. If our genes were reduced to the size of the gene pool of the species we call dogs, canines, then all human beings would be one breed of dog. This is a genetic declaration from research. We would all be the same kind of dog if we were in that gene pool. There is only one race, and it does not, Judaism does not travel by race. So this woman's ignorance is not only vicious and hurtful, but stupid. And they have no idea how they sound. So no matter how they open their mouth, no matter how they act, they are subverting their own project of superiority through apartheid. Do you ever notice things like this, Mohammed?
Yes, brother. Thank you so much for shedding the light on this important article. Of course, I am going to search for it and I will try to read it after our meeting.
And I will
It's
put a
very,
link
very
to it.
important.
Excuse me for interrupting. I will put a link to it in the information here with this video. So you can click right on it, ladies and gentlemen, and see exactly what they're saying. It's quite amazing for a mainstream authoritative global publication like that. Mohammed, forgive me. Please continue.
Yeah, yeah,
Why
yes,
you think
brother.
it's
Yes,
important.
brother. Yeah, yeah, of course, brother. It's a very important article, and I think all the viewers should read it. It's a very important one. Yeah. In fact, brother, if we want to speak about the two options of the one-state solution and two-states solution, I think first of all, Israel, through its practices, the apartheid and the other bad colonial practices, I think Israel has made some sort of sabotage for this option. They made some sort of sabotage for this option, which is the two states state. Because now, brother, if you look to the map of, I think you will not see any kind of organic unity or geographical unity on the map. West Bank became like some fragments on the map. One village
Yeah,
here and another
little
village there.
small Gazas, like small Gazas, very confined, very
Yeah,
separated,
yeah,
and the
yeah.
change in the landscape from Palestinian to Jewish over the last 50, 60 years is simply staggering. And everybody, all the
Yes,
different experts who comment and who take a very middle of the road position most of the time, Ali Abumina, Noam Chomsky, Norman Finkelstein, all the kinds of people that have
yeah.
closely studied this process have concluded that Israel never intended peace. They intended to use the peace process as a wait and see, let's try this, while in the background they were taking more and more and more of the land.
Yeah, brother, try to catch a handful of wheat or corn seeds, and try to throw this handful on the ground. And after you throw this handful of corn on the ground, try to make a shot, a photo for this thrown corn on the ground. I think this photo will look like the West Bank map.
Yes,
You know?
yes,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
clear. That's clear to
Yeah,
see.
yeah. Yes, yes, brother, exactly. It's now this time, West Bank geography is looking like some fragmented islands, looking like some fragmented islands in an ocean or inside the sea. One village here and another village there, one city here, one
Yes,
town there. So they used to sabotage. They used to sabotage
yeah,
any possibility for making Palestinian state inside West Bank. And you know, West Bank takes the majority of the Palestinian geography. Gaza is very few strip of land. Gaza is like 360 square kilometers.
yes,
It equals 1%, only 1% of the historical Palestine area. So Gaza is already a small, very narrow strip of land, and the West Bank they used to fragment it
yes.
into very small pieces. Yeah. So
And
I
that
think, brother, the ability of two states solution, I think it's over. I think it's over.
of
If you
course,
want to
and
speak,
and this is the great, you could say, shadow of a lumbering, stupid giant. Every time the United States government talks about, well, we're still hopeful of the two-state solution, this has been out of possibility for 10 years already. So you know they are just covering with Israel, helping Israel kill time until a Palestinian political community of any contiguity at all is physically impossible. That's where we are now. So for Foreign Affairs, this journal, to declare that there can only be a one-state solution, a one sovereign system, a democracy that allows participation of all its people, that's the only way Israel is going to reach the future.
yeah, brother, if you want to speak about the two-state solution, I think it's very impossible. Not only impossible, but it's very impossible. And I think the USA administration knows that very well,
Of course,
that
they must.
it's very impossible. You know, brother,
Yeah.
it's impossible at all because Israel, through their unstoppable colonial projects in West Bank, through their new settlements, they used to cut the Palestinian lands and they made it as I told you, like the thrown corn on
Yeah, to
ground,
scatter them.
some isolated islands. So
Yes.
it's impossible, brother. Yeah. If you want to speak about the other option, the one-state solution, I think it's totally refused by the Israelis because I think it looks like an exclusive solution for the future of Israel. Why? Because if you look to the population rates in the Palestinian territories, and if you compare it with the population rate, I mean the growth in the population
Yeah.
in Israel. If you
Yeah.
compare it with the Arab people, whether inside Israel or in the PA and Hamas areas, I think if you try to make some little comparison in the population growth here and there, I think directly you will understand you will understand why they insist to refuse. Because simply, if you make a unified state for the Jews and the Palestinians, simply after 20 or 30 years, the superiority in population will be for the Palestinians. According to some studies, uh, they said, suppose if we have this state, the one state, in the year in the year 2050, so after like 27 years, the population of the Palestinians 17 million. The Palestinians inside this unified state will be 17 million, while the Israelis will be 11.
Yeah.
So
Now,
17 to 11.
this raises a really important point because it's often been observed in historical research that when one people oppresses another and they no longer care about justice toward that people, then eventually, when history, which has its way of turning around situations, comes along, now the world that has seen you be unjust to those people, now the world does not care very much about justice for you. So, if we've talked many times here, Muhammad, about the Balfour Declaration, it's a two-paragraph simple document. One, the British Empire and the Ottomans, they all approved that there should be an Israeli state in Palestine. But the second condition is, as long as there is no injustice toward the Arabs and Palestinians who are already there. So this great quest of the state of Israel to establish somehow its capital L legitimacy in the world has to rely on justice for all the people living on that landscape. In other words, and in short, if they don't create justice for the Palestinians now, then how can they expect justice themselves when they become the overwhelming minority on that land? The pursuit of legitimacy must be based on justice, or they are going to find themselves on the short end of it before too much longer. And I think that's why they are trying so fanatically hard to provoke the Palestinians, to create a conflict that says, okay, that's it, we have to get rid of them. You all have to leave. You all have to go to Jordan and Lebanon and wherever else you go. They don't care. They just want them out while they think they can get away with it.
Brother, let me repeat again, please. Uh, it's impossible. It's totally impossible to set up a one state, a one unified state, and to make it like a democratic state. It's not. I think it's impossible to make one democratic state for both the Jews and Palestinians
But Mohammed, let me
because
ask you, let me ask you though really quickly. Remember, before 1948, the Jews, the Christians, the Muslims, and everybody else were getting along. They had, as it were, a multicultural democratic state. in which everybody participated. It just didn't have a flag. It just didn't have a national name, but their daily life was democratic. Why do you not think they can do that again? Why do they have to proclaim it one thing or another?
In that time, brother, they used to live in a peaceful way. They used to love each other. As a symbol we mentioned, how was our life in Shafir? But brother, now you have a colonial project, and you have a
Yeah,
colonial ambition for the Zionist movement in Palestine. They want to make a blackmail for the state. They want the situation to be totally under their control. They want to repress the other side. So I think it's impossible to make one democratic state for both, for the both nations, because after 1, 2, 3 decades, through this democratic system, the result will be a Palestinian president for this unified country, a Palestinian prime minister, maybe a Palestinian head for the parliament, and a Palestinian majority inside the parliament,
yeah.
inside the ministry, inside the ministries. So they still have one option. I mean the Zionists. I think they can make this one unified state, but between two brackets to make it a monarchy. If they design it to be a monarchy and the king to be always a Jew and a Jewish royal family, I think by this way it's possible. But to make a democratic state for Palestinians and Israelis, no, it's impossible because the future will witness a Palestinian majority according to a population.
Well, you have in the United States, for example, there is more than one political party, at least according to some people. Some people say there is only one party, the American Business Party, which has two faces, and they seem different, but they're not. And maybe some people in the middle as an independent. Okay, but what I mean is, when one party has the majority or the other party has the majority, they still, at least in their naming, call it a democracy. It's not that the people in the minority have lost all their rights, their ability to vote and to speak and to participate and so forth. They still have all their rights. They live in a democracy, but their party is not at that moment in control. Do you not think that if they had elections, including both Israelis and Palestinians, that they might end up voting for each other's candidates from time to time?
I think I don't know, brother. I think it looks like a utopian
Mm.
hypothesis to think in such way.
Is that
It
because you
reminds
believe,
me,
is that
yeah,
because you believe that it's the Israelis or the Zionists who are most against sharing the land that way?
of
Where is
course,
the
of
obstacle?
course.
Is it on the Muslim side, or is it on Arab side, or is it a little of both? What do you think?
To be honest, we have obstacles on the two sides. We will have some extremists in the Israeli side, and of course, we have some extremists in the Palestinian side. So uh, I think it's a utopian dream. It reminds me with the utopia of Thomas More. I don't believe it's a pragmatic idea or a practical idea.
Okay, so you don't, then nobody believes in the two-state solution. You do not foresee any kind of a one state situation, one democratic state situation. So, what do you see? Because many people say, well, Israel would be happy to go on forever this way, with the Palestinians repressed and not having representation to their adequacy in the government and all this. They would be happy to go on this way as it is right now in apartheid, because it would cost them too much to end it. It would cost more to end it and to give up or give back lands than it would for them to just continue with the terrible injustice as is. If you don't believe in a one-state solution is possible, Mohammed, what's going to happen next? Wouldn't that leave the Palestinians forever in this situation?
I think, brother, I think if we want to speak about again those two options, I think the two states option or the two states solution, I think it's a more practical solution.
But
But I think
you just finished telling me that it's not practical because everything is scattered, like the corn or the wheat on the ground. Everything is so
yes, yes,
scattered and disorganized that
yeah,
it's not
exactly.
possible.
Yeah, exactly, brother. Both of them are not practical, but I think the two-state solution we can deal with it if the world powers, the big countries, used to interfere and to enforce the Israelis to make some withdrawals from the West Bank. If they make some big and some grand, some withdrawals from West Bank, I think we can make some geographical unity inside the West Bank territories. But in this, but because situation, of course, it's impossible because, as I told you, it's a fragmented. So if they can convince the Israelis to make some withdrawals
Yeah.
like that withdrawal which was done by Ariel Sharon from Gaza in
Yes.
2005, I
Yes.
think I think it was a brave action from Sharon in that time. He refused to listen to the opposition in the Israeli parliament and he insisted to go out of Gaza. I think if they make some similar brave decisions to make some big withdrawals from West Bank, I think it will be able.
And that itself brings up another prospect of, well, civil war or some terrible violence among Israelis who do not now, of course, want to give up what they have built. I heard two important observations in fairly recent lectures that I was listening to. One is there is not one settler building a house in the occupied territories who believes in a one or two state solution. Not one person building a house in the occupied territories really believes that they're ever going to give up that house and go back to wherever they came from. It sounds pretty true. And others who say you want to find a way without violence to get the settlers to abandon these places that they have taken over, well, tell them that it's going to be governed by Palestinians. I thought that was quite interesting. When they think it's going to be governed by Palestinians, they will leave rather than live with Palestinian people. Isn't that a
I
sad
told
comment?
I told you, brother. I told you, brother. Their only option, if you want to talk about the one-state solution, I think their sole option is to make it or is to design it as a monarchy and to make the and to make a royal family, a Jewish one, and to
Why
make
would
a
that
Jewish king.
why would that help, Muhammad? I'd like to understand that better. Why would that satisfy Israelis that they have power in the government? If they had a royal family? That sounds so un-Jewish in a way.
I think yes, brother. I think they have to make a new king, a new Solomon to
Huh.
control this monarchy. Because, brother, we are talking according to logic, according to mathematics. If you make this country, for sure, it will witness a Palestinian majority according to population. So,
Yes.
so it must not be democratic state. It cannot be democratic
From
because
their point of view, from the
yeah,
Zionists. Yeah.
of course, brother, of course,
Yeah.
because directly the president will be Palestinian, the prime minister will be Palestinian, the ambassador in Washington will be Palestinian. So
Well, it's an unfortunate closure to our program that it seems as though continued injustice is their only solution. Because if they do close down apartheid, if they do open up the society to equal civil rights for Palestinian people, then their dream of a Jewish state will end. So the only way
yes,
to hold on to that dream is to continue to exclude and discriminate against and colonize and attack and repress the Palestinian people. It's a terrible
I
future
told
and a
you
terrible feeling to think that's your only hope for what tomorrow will be like for your children.
exactly, brother. I told you maybe last time that here in Gaza, for instance, I don't know how is the situation in West Bank, but at least in Gaza here, we left us no option. Here you have only two things: whether to be killed by their weapons or to go by yourself to commit suicide. Here we are not living as humans outside this coffin,
No, and
outside
it's
this tomb.
because of the
Yes,
inhumanity of the original demands that the Israelites in the first pages of the Bible made to the Canaanites and the Philistines and other people there. You can leave, you can serve us as slaves, or you can die. Those are your
exactly.
choices, and they are still living out those things. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 1 minute left, and I just wanted to repeat our plea with you. Write your own government, email, telephone, letter, whatever it takes, maybe more than one. Let them know that these policies that support apartheid against Palestinians must change. Practice BDS, boycott, divest, and sanctions against products that are produced in Israeli occupied Palestinian territories. And third, think about family to family, an actual direct friendship with Palestinian people that by which you can reach in over the walls and help them to a decent standard of life while they wait for something called hope to appear on the horizon. Muhammad, thank you very much as always, and we will see you next time.
Thank you, brother. Despite all of this pessimism, I think we still have a hope, and we have to fight for this hope. Thank you,
Yes.
brother.
Thank you.